think we have enough time to pass to get started. Hi everybody, I'm Scott. I am the founder of Business Productions. This is my partner Rex. Hello. Volunteers here, our hosts tonight. If you guys have any questions, you can come to the three of us and we'll help you as best we can. We'll also want to take you on the tour. If you've been here before, you don't have to do the tour, but if you've never been here before, you want it, we're going to start right after this announcement and walk around the building. We'll show you all the hot spots, we'll show you what works well, where, and then you guys will be able to run wherever you want to train. There is a building out back, the barn, that will be available for you guys to investigate as well. There's activity that happens there. Actually, activity in almost every single one of this building is including this one. You never really know when something might jump up. That's not an exaggeration. All right, so some rules. First and foremost, remember you are in a museum. Please do not stand in the furniture that is clearly marked. Please don't decide to play kickball with things you shouldn't play kickball with. Even though it's a lot of fun, you'll get in trouble for that from me or not that experience. Also, no drugs or alcohol on the property. I know we all like to have fun, but let's keep the spirits and those behind. You know, the art building is speakeasy in the basement. Also, when we're down in the basement, watch your step because it's still under construction. That's why you sign waivers and that's why you promise your firstborn children. Spies by that, and great fine. All right, other rules. No sex in the building. We have to say that because there's been problems in the location of the bed. I see a lot of eyes going open. Yes, it does happen. Because people say freaky ghosts. Do not get freaky here. That's what the deadline is for. Yes,
go home and get freaky.
I know we're all like laughing, but seriously, you guys have a problem with these, so we got to make them here. Please be respectful. Also, when it comes to respect, please respect your fellow investigators. You guys are able to use whatever equipment you brought. We have tons of equipment you guys are well to use. No, we're not going to charge anything to rent them out. Just be respectful to them and try to keep the noise level down when we're just walking around because you don't want to interrupt someone else's experiment or whatever it is that they're trying to do. While we're on the topic of respect, this building was originally built as a poor home. For those of you that don't know the history of poor homes are built kind of like your go-to building for government. Your impoverished people were kept here, your mentally ill people were kept here, people that were going in and out of jail were here, transients, people that were dropped off and had no place else to go. Those were the kind of people that were here. And back when they built this building in the late 1800s, I think it's 1877, I think roughly is when it opened, you had to earn your right to live here. Everything was self-sustaining. Your food, your clothes, your water, everything. So if you were here, you get a very small stipend, but you have to work for it. The reason why I mention this is because for those of you that are new to Ghost Hunting, this is not going to be an experience like Ghost Adventures or Paranormal Quest or whatever shows you watch where it's all running around laughing and joking and screaming and yelling every little sound that happens. That's not the reality of what Ghost Hunting is. You're dealing with people here that went through very, very difficult circumstances in their life. Some of them died. Some of them were here for most of their lives. Some were here just for a short period of time. You're going to hear some of these stories tonight. Be respectful to the spirits. This place, since we've been coming here and started running these events, Rex and I go out of our way when there's not people here to try to tell them about what we're doing and why. Because imagine if you're at home and a whole bunch of strangers come in, you kind of want to know what they're up to. Right? And since we've explained that we're here to communicate, have fun, and just interact, activity has spiked consistently. We haven't told anybody that we did all that. The reason for it is because everyone that comes through here has been very respectful. You don't need to start calling a spirit names to get them to do something. Again, you're dealing with people that had a very, very difficult life. Imagine what it would be like for you, for someone to come in and treat you with disrespect and then demand something. My day job, I work as a mental health therapist. I have for over 15 years. If you know anything about traumatic disorders and PTSD, think of it as these are people that had traumatic experiences in survival. So all the mental trauma and difficulties that people have with PTSD, that's what these people struggle with as well. So be respectful. It really does matter. As we go on through the night, please feel free to ask questions about anything you guys are confused about. A couple other announcements. There are other events that are being run here at the Historical Society. There's two specifically. The Mounds Club Gala, 79th anniversary, which takes place on September 19th. There are flyers up here if you're interested. We also have the community picnic, Sunday, June 14th. 2026, that will be here as well, including a picnic in Barn Gate, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. When you see the barn and see how beautiful it is, it's a great place to come and spend the night. We also are taking volunteers for people who would like to volunteer and help out here at the Historical Society. That's what we need. So if you're willing to donate some time to help them out, we greatly appreciate it. If you are interested in volunteering, come up and see Valerie, so she can get your information, and they will be in communication with you how that's going to work. For now, does anybody have any questions? Questions, comments, middle fingers? Yes.
Are you going to be turning off the fans and whatnot?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to be turning off the fans and whatnot?
The fans in this room, no, because this room you'll melt. See, we have the opposite problem. We started doing these in January, where there's almost no heat in most of the building. And now you're going to have the opposite problem. There's going to be no air conditioning in a lot of portions of the building. There are some lights we have to leave on because of fire codes, because we have a working elevator. So for those of you that have some trouble moving around, you have an elevator to show you, so that'll get you to most places. So the lights near the elevators have to stay on. And again, that's legality. Otherwise, yes, we're going to turn off every light. So have flashlights. I don't think we have any extra flashlights, but we will look in case you don't have them. But yes, we want to make sure that we keep the experience authentic. In here, this will be our base of operations, so the lights and the things here will stay on. Rex and I also brought some experimental devices that we are trying out. We're going to be running these throughout the night for anyone who's interested in. For those who use the Spirit Box, this is one of those on steroids, but it works a little differently. And this one, if you ever heard of Ovilus, imagine it on a television. So we're going to be running those throughout the night for those who want to try them out. Unfortunately, they're stationary because we have to plug in. But you guys are welcome to come and sit around, and we'll explain how they work and things throughout the night for those who are interested. But so to hear a bunch of weird voices, we come in here for break, don't worry, it's us probably experimental. Probably. Food and drinks. Drinks are already in the back here. There's pop, water, help yourself. There is more coming. Coffee pots, probably making lots of coffee. Food will be delivered around 9 o'clock. Part of your ticket price is to cover the price of food. So when it gets here, just dig in, help yourself. We will walk around and let people know. You know, we're at 9 o'clock, you're probably expect to be here. It's various types of pizza. I don't know what all kind of it gets, so it'll be a nice little variety. If you have a specific dietary issue, please let us know. Like if you're vegan or if you have any kind of food issues, that way we can take that into account for the food. And if there's no other questions, we're going to go ahead and get started on the tour. Rex and I are going to bring you guys up in 2 groups and we'll walk you guys around. I don't want to do it.
I guess is there anybody who does not want to go on that?
So that's all I can take. This side of it. All right.
It's time to go on a tour.
Alright, this side.
Come on, let's go on a tour. Turn around.
Alright, those coming with me, if you're ready, along, go.
I don't know who we're with. I wasn't paying attention. I guess we're going to follow him.
Okay.
Nope, I can do that right now. Yep. Yep.
Sure.
I'll-
So if you're gonna follow me, we're gonna wait a second. The barn's gonna get unlocked, and that's where we'll start.
Good. Yes. Yes, it does. All right, we got everybody? There you go. All right. Welcome to the main part of the building. The first thing I want to call your attention to are these pillars in the middle of the hallway here. Back when this was built, men and women interacting was considered a very big party foul, even if you were married. So this actually used to be a wall that went straight down the middle of the building, splitting it in half. Women on one side, men on the other. So if you're a lady, you have to spend your time on this side of the building. If you're a man, you have to spend your time on this side of the building. The reason why this is important for paranormal reasons is because you'll notice there are 2 staircases. This is also where your bathrooms are, by the way, if you need them, they're right underneath the staircase. This lovely woman right here, Mrs. White, has been known to haunt this particular area. And Mrs. White is a stickler for rules. She does not like it if you take the wrong staircase when you're not supposed to be taking that. She has been known to give out verbal prompts. She has been known to tap people on the shoulders. She has been known to allegedly pull hair, although I don't know if that's accurate, because we've interacted with this quite a bit. But apparently she doesn't appreciate if you take the wrong staircase. So if you want to tweak her a little bit, take the wrong staircase and then apologize profusely and just say you're hoping to interact with her. Mrs. White may look very scary, but she's actually a very friendly spirit. She's been well known here. She's viewed as the caretaker. And when she lived here, her and her husband were, she was married to the administrator of the building and she helped them move inside of it. So again, this is her area. She's very well known for it. But in case you ever see why these are split up like this, you're wondering what all these columns are for, that's why. It's because we tore it down and tried to make it more open, but still preserve some of the history of it. So we're going to start off by going into the basement. At this point, don't expect to do it.
When you're thinking on.
Oh, it sounds great. It sounds like I need you to go in front of me in case I fall. I'm gonna change hands here. Oh my. Turn your head, man, found Nick. Thank you, sir.
You know, they've done research. You know, they make the same coupons that same things that are made out of. All right, so welcome to the basement. This is where, if you're going to get lost, this is where most people kind of get discombobulated and confused. Down here, you'll notice there's a lot of construction going on. This is where they are building the 1920s era inspired speakeasy. It is supposedly going to open sometime in June, assuming they can get the concrete poured in time. They are going to be opening up occasionally. It won't be something they run every night, and there will be paranormal events that they're going to run with it. So once it's open, please feel free to come on and check out. Now, typically at this end, most of the activity that I know of has actually happened to either maintenance workers or people that have been working doing construction down here at different points of time. There was once a old bicycle from like the 1920s that was down there. Back then when they made bikes, they didn't make them with chains like you have on the current bikes. They were designed differently. And they were very, very heavy because they were made out of steel. So they had a bike that was down here. And if I remember right, it's actually in the room that I just blocked off with the filing cabinet. Where's the one across? They move it back and forth. But it's not a bike you can easily move because it's all rusted out and the tires don't move. And the tires are very flat. Yet somehow, when they would come down here every day to start working on stuff, somehow that bike would manage to move itself, not just a little bit, but to other parts of the building when there's nobody else actually here. Which, again, once you see this bike, it'll make a lot of sense as to why that would be very difficult for someone to move on their own. There's also been a story of a Jamaican gentleman that was working down here. He was doing some construction. This is before they started going to speakeasy, and they had an old cash register that was down there. And he was working in the corner doing something one day, and all of a sudden the cash register, which is like an old 1930s, 1940s style register, not plugged in anything because they weren't electronic at the time, started dinging and going up on its own. He freaked out and refused to come back here overnight. There have been groups from Kent State University and a couple of universities that were here doing stuff for school projects. They've heard footsteps, they've heard strange noises, they felt things tapping them on the shoulders, all in this area right here. Down this way is the old workroom. You're welcome to check out any of the stuff, by the way. That workroom, the only thing that I know for sure that's ever happened in there is when we were here filming our YouTube series a while ago, before they opened these up for ghost hunts, we had a gentleman whose name kept getting said down there in that far room on a spirit box. If you don't know what a spirit box is, it's essentially an AM/FM radio that has been modified to just sweep constantly up and down AM/FM bandwidth, making a whole bunch of noise, with the idea that a spirit can use the energy from those noise to be able to form words and phrases to talk to you.
That room down there is very, very, very active with spirit boxes. We had his name to the point where we were pretty convinced that whatever was talking to him knew him from a previous life. That's how well the response is coming from down there. Here's your elevator. So if you need to use the elevator upstairs, we passed it on our way to the bathroom, you can use it. This light has to stay on as a result of the elevator. And now we're gonna go into the cells.
Watch your step. Watch your step. Watch your step.
Welcome to the first part of the cell block. We're gonna go into the rest of it here in a minute. The reason why we're stopping right here is because this is another area that is really good for EVPs, which stand for electronic voice phenomena. That's when you have any device that records audio is able to pick out voices out of thin air if you don't hear at the time of the recording. But it could be responding to you. This room especially, what's important is if you look at this door, what does this door remind you of?
So,
A cell. This is solitary confinement. So it wasn't just when you were going down to the jail cell, this is when you were really rowdy and you couldn't even be kept in those cells over there because it was too dangerous. This room is open to investigate. I will tell you, most people that go in here, especially if you spend significant time, feel very uncomfortable, they feel a very heavy weight on their chest. A lot of people report feeling very depressed or sad, sometimes even become tearful. I've heard whispering in there before, but I wasn't able to make out what they said. No one that I know has spent more than just a few minutes in there by themselves, but if you're brave, you want to close the door, you go for it, be my guest. This is not going to be the location of the paranormal challenge I'll tell you about in a minute, but it will be in the near future. I just want to clean the room up a little bit. But you're free and welcome to go in, you're welcome to explore it, just be careful there are items in there. But again, this is probably the only area, one of two areas that say where people, if they get any kind of dark feelings, this is the spot where it's coming from.
Is the stuff that's in there, is that made from, is that steel stuff?
It's just random stuff, yeah. It was mostly used for storage until recently. Once we were able to confirm that it was software confinement, we requested that we move stuff out of there so we can use it. All right, come on in. Hi, George.
That's the doorway stuff.
Joe, real quick, you were experiencing something?
Back hallway, like at the front of my head, just kept taking on the air a little bit. At the same time, she was brushing herself because there's some cold.
Yeah, like I literally had Johnny touch like my jacket over here. It's freezing on this side.
That's awesome. Watch your step, folks.
George was an old maintenance worker, and he was here back in the day before they had such things as boiler heat. So after George passed away, his spirit decided for whatever reason not to move on. Then, right after they installed these brand new boiler systems, suddenly, almost out of the gate, every day something would go wrong. But the damnedest thing would happen is they would come in here and they would look at it and they would try to repair it, only there's nothing wrong with these boilers. They work just fine. But every so often, they would suddenly stop and they'd have to bring out a maintenance person for them to start up again. So I don't know if you guys know who Mary Ellen is, the famous psychic who the show Ghost Whisperer, that was based after her. They used her as somebody to help work with that particular show. She came down here and claims that George had a problem with boilers because he didn't like it. He didn't like the technology, he wasn't familiar with it, and as the caretaker cared about the building, he wanted to make sure the building was taken care of. And he kept asking for something called a grain being added to the boilers. The problem is no one knew what the hell that meant. What do you mean add grain? Like we don't know what that means. So eventually somebody brought in, I guess it was just some random grain from something, and they put it on the boiler, and ever since the boilers worked fine without a problem. Spanning several decades. No problem since. Now, George has still been seen in here. George sometimes can be talkative. You can hear a gruff male's voice periodically. I always say hi to him because, again, I believe in just being respectful and saying hi anyway, because I believe you get a lot more responses with kindness than you do anything else, with certain exceptions, which we'll talk about later. One of the benefits you guys are going to have tonight is because it's going to be so much warmer, these boilers are not going to be kicking on. And why that's a benefit is because these things are ungodly loud when they're going, and they also make all the pipes and the building rattle frequently throughout the night. So you'll have people on the different floors saying, "Oh my God, did you hear that metal bang?" Yes, it's water going through the pipe and the furnace kicked on.
It was on when I was first out here for my challenge.
Yes, it is a pain in the ass to come here in the winter, and it doesn't stay consistent. It kind of comes and goes. Now, it'll also be very beneficial when we get in the cell block here, because for those of you that like to do audio stuff, this is a great place to do it. So let's go right into the cells.
I guarantee you it's not me.
That's still first over.
Hmm. Oh, you are kidding me. What?
Welcome to one of the most active play spots in this entire building, by far. This is one of the old cells. If you look up, you're gonna see a pipe that goes across this building. That pipe is original, and that's because this used to be the shower room. You'll also notice there's a chair in the middle of the floor. If you take a wild guess what that's for. Around midnights, for those who are really brave and daring, I bring a group of you down here, we close off the basement, and you are left to sit in this chair by yourself for 10 minutes to see what happens to you. Everybody has something in habit. Even if it's just weird, strange noises, everybody hears at least something. The most common things people hear are footsteps in the dirt moving up behind you, tapping on the shoulder, breathing in the air, footsteps in the hallway out there, and most recently, about a child-sized shadow figure that goes over here on the right-hand side and peeks around the corner of the bars and disappears around the corner. Because as dark as it gets in here, there is a no exit sign right there on the end that shoots red light into that hallway. So if there's something moving back and forth, you will see it. We had one night where we didn't tell everybody what was happening because I bring you guys down separately so you can't tell everybody else what's happening. And we had 5 out of the 12 people that did it report the same exact thing. Same corner, same everything. It's cool. The last 3. Anyone's welcome to try it, but it's up to 10 minutes. If you don't have a ton of volunteers, I'll give you a little longer. But we've had times where every single person on one of these wanted to do it, so we have to cut it short because otherwise we'll be here all night.
You do?
But those are the most common things people hear. If you're going to use a voice recorder, I recommend either putting it on the bench behind you or you can put it up on one of these holes. These are cells next to you that were used as actual jail cells for people upstairs that were really out of control, so there were people that were kept in there. This is also the location of one of the most famous ghosts here. This is one of the 2 locations she's been encountered, and that is Miss Lucy. So Miss Lucy, back when she was alive, back in the late 1890s, early 1900s, Lucy liked to, well, we'd probably think it very strange and weird even now. You can only imagine what they would have thought back then. But Lucy really liked going streaking. So Lucy would get her hands on alcohol, would get completely trashed, and she would go downtown square and she would go streaking until the cops picked her up and brought her back here. That happened a lot. So Lucy unfortunately spent a lot of time down here in this area. There's another spot you're going to see her quite a bit as well. I haven't had a lot of experience channeling Lucy down here. We usually have it up in another location. Lucy is very flirtatious. If you're a gentleman, don't be surprised if your ass gets pinched. Mine's been pinched at least twice. That's not an exaggeration. It actually happens, and I'm kind of flattered, I'm not gonna lie. She's very flirty. Sometimes if you hear her voice, will come through. It's a very like middle-aged, very flirty woman's voice, so don't be too surprised with that. Lucy is generally very friendly. The only time I've ever known her to actually get particularly violent or dangerous is somebody was provoking when they shouldn't have been, and allegedly pulled their hair. Now, having been here as often as I have been, I find that very surprising if that's true. But you never know. People that come through here sometimes make up amazing stories, and you don't know what's going on. So take for that what you will. But again, Lucy's somebody that responds very well to just polite interaction, being a little flirty, being a little jokey. If you ask her what her favorite alcoholic drink is and you get an answer, please come tell me, because then I want to see if you're actually going to respond to Lucy. Because we've gotten the same response a bunch of times, so we're going to see if you guys get that same response. There is this hallway. If you're going to do the paranormal challenge and you want to get the hell out of here real fast, which does happen. This hallway down here, if you go down to the right, there's a room at the end of the hall. There's a bar that goes across. Make sure you duck. But there's a staircase there that'll take you up to the kitchen, which is our next spot that we're going to go to. So if you ever need to get out of here quick, you don't want to run all the way across the building, you're on this room. Yes. That does not matter for tonight. And as you can see, all these rooms you're able to go and check out if you want. Just again, be very, very careful with the stuff on the floor. Don't trip and die. Unless you want to haunt the place, in which case, please. And watch your head.
Oh,
As you said so.
Watch your head.
Watch your head. When you get down there, watch your head. You okay?
Yeah, the hole that went like almost on my side is now all the way down my back.
Are you spilling water or something? Okay. Thanks for playing. Watch your head, Meg. Well, no, it's just low bridge right there. We're about to step down and watch your head. Oh, thank you.
Welcome to our next location. Like I said, hauntings happen down here at Christina. In the kitchen, what happened in here didn't even happen during paranormal events. They were cleaning up in here after just irregular old events. When all of a sudden, as they're standing at, I think it was that sink over there. They were standing there doing the dishes, and all of a sudden, a dish came out of that cupboard and was flying across the room and smashed on the floor. They have found knives moved around this room. People will frequently hear things get knocked over, see things suddenly just move on the shelf. That happens quite a bit. But again, no one's really investigated this room a whole lot. So you guys, if anybody who does, you're probably one of the first. This is something we just learned about recently. And again, these are from non-paranormal events that this stuff's happening. So they decided to mention it to the staff and said, hey, do you think your place is haunted? And that's when they found out we have these events. So this is a great place to investigate. Again, not many people have. Just be on the lookout because things do start flying around. So just make sure you don't get hit by them. Okay. Now we're back into our base camp here. We're heading to the infirmary.
What do you think?
First, I'm tired. That's the first thing I think. Second thing is this building's cool. Excellent.
You're tired. Building's cool. It's gonna be a good night for you.
I had 2 energy drinks today just to stay upright. So I'm just going to be a little sleepy boy, go to sleep.
I have about 4 hours of sleep in me, so
Yeah.
4 hours of sleep. Hey, it's normal, you know. Little tiny step down. Wow, this building, I know why people get lost.
So you'll have to see it. I just found this corner. Tell me what you're thinking about when you see it.
Oh, this is Virginia City. No, this is the tour. This is Virginia City.
And where the response is after you come back, that's what it does. It works very, very, very well. Just if you hear somebody playing Marco Polo, please don't play. That's personal experience. There's nothing pissed me off more than going to public jail time and I'm trying Marco Polo and some smart ass over there going, Polo! Fuck off, get out of here. Sorry, I first had to say that. Welcome to the infirmary. So this is where they used to have their hospital and doctor's offices. This, I believe, used to be one, I think this is the old waiting room if I remember right. In any case, what works really well in here is cat balls. If you're not sure what a cat ball is, they're essentially cat toys, which also work for ghosts as well as cats. Imagine that. It's a little spherical ball that lights up if anything touches it or if a vibration happens near it. So they're really great for playing like yes or no questions. I'm going to show you another spot where these work really, really, really well. We had a group in here one night and we put cat balls around the room in a semicircle and we actually got them to go off in order by asking, hey, can you set that one off? Boom, 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 all the way around the room. historically, these windows are incredibly important because right where that bus garage is where the old cemetery is. These places have their own cemetery. In fact, if you're familiar with Ohio's courthouses, there's 4 left in the state of Ohio. Madison Seminary used to be one, and the Fairfield County Infirmary used to be one. And those are both owned by Adam Kimmel, who's a great guy, great friend of ours. And they used to bury bodies here on the property. Now, Fairfield's got about 2,000 bodies buried out in the fields all around it. This place didn't have quite so many. And supposedly they moved most of the bodies back in like the 1930s, I think. That date might be wrong. But unfortunately, there's still some residual activity that is happening outside these windows, right where that bus garage is. As the weather's getting nicer, we are getting permission to let you guys investigate the grounds of the property because no one else ever has. So for those of you that are very daring, just don't trespass, please. We might be able to get permission to do that tonight, depending on the weather, because I don't know if it's supposed to storm or not. But that is something we'd like to make available. So this is also the story where the supposed elephant happened. So there's an old story throughout Painesville that there was a circus that came through here, and an elephant died and was buried somewhere on the property. To this day, no one's been able to verify whether or not this is an actual true story. However, the likelihood if that did happen probably would be somewhere out here just because that's where they used to bury everything else. So if you hear strange elephant noises on your spirit boxes or on your YouTube recorders, don't be freaked out. That's actually not all that surprising because people have reported that kind of thing before. The night that we were here, originally Rex and I were invited to come help with a paracon event. And that was where we take people around that want to learn how to ghost hunt and teach them how to ghost hunt. That's the first time we were ever here, before we were approaching asked to run these events. And we were outside, it was about 3:30 in the morning, and we were talking with some people that we know from Madison Seminary, people who were to help us volunteer with us. And we're just talking and shooting shit, and all of a sudden we start hearing what sounded like clown shoes running around the grounds outside. To the point that we dropped everything we were doing, grabbed flashlights, and we started searching the grounds. And that led out towards the barn, which is an area you guys can investigate. In fact, we were so out there looking that the police decided to show up to find out why is there a bunch of strange people running around the property at 3 o'clock in the morning with flashlights. And we explained the story to them, and then they helped us look. Now, I was
There you go, that was a good night for them.
exactly. I'm sure they were very bored that night. 4 cop cars showed up.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And we started telling them stories that were ghost hunters, and they started telling us stories. Sometimes they had to come in here because of like alarms that would go off on their own, or they'd hear trespassing and all the weird shit that happened. And their funniest thing is anybody who's like a rookie on the force, they're the ones to get sent to the building by themselves. That comes straight from the sheriff himself.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a great story. Some of them have actually come and done some of these events too, and will want to come back. But in any case, it's something that happens. So if you hear weird clown shoes or clown noises, it could be Pennywise coming for you, in which case it's probably the regular living. But otherwise, just remember there was a circus that was allegedly here, and that's not necessarily something that's unheard of.
I almost wore my Pennywise shirt too.
You're moving right on point. But I'll have to come back and do it again. June 20th is our next one, by the way. The other thing to remember here is a lot of people that walk in here will sometimes feel kind of sad and kind of down. You got to remember this was the hospital, this was the doctor's office. People that came in here were not doing well. There have been train accidents that happened not far from here. There was a suicide that happened not too far from here, actually within the past year. And all of that stuff now all kind of have residual energy kind of sits in places like this. Now I'm going to show you, the room is very, very small. We're not all going to be able to fit in it, but it's a room that I feel is very important to show you because of some of the cool shit that we've had happen to us. And that's this room back here with the crib. Oh, sorry, okay. That chair has been, we were actually, there's a group last time we were here. I was showing a group over here. They claim this chair got picked up and slammed into the wall when they were watching. It freaked them out so bad they came running out to get us to come and check it out. So this room is just recently open, so this chair is supposed to be very active. But it's this room at the end is the one we really want to show.
You've been over here for a little bit.
Just looking at the haunted commode mostly, but
No, I'm just kind of trying to get a vibe, walking through the rooms. Except for you walked behind us, and Megan and I both turned like, holy crap,
Where do you go?
what's happening?
Where do you come from?
No.
Get a vibe on that.
This is the spot we want to film. When we were filming for our YouTube episode of Anybody Rex, our friend Denise from Madison Seminary, our camera guy right here doing stuff. And they put a grandfather in his crib, and I kid you not, that thing went on for 7.5 years.
So real quick, I'm going to step away from the group. I'm seeing all of your messages. It's just, it's been so long since I've done a live. I don't know how to respond to them. That's why my daughter and my wife are responding the best that they can. Um, just want to kind of give a plug to the Painesville Historical Society just real quick and let you know, like our guide just said, they are doing another event just like this on June 20th. So if you're going to be in Ohio, specifically Northeast Ohio, you should really consider coming to Painesville, to the Lake County Poorhouse, as it was called, and take part of this event. So far, it's been very enjoyable, a lot of fun. When we're done with this walkthrough of the building, I'm going to end the live stream because we're actually here to make a long form video about the history and haunts of this building, just in, normal curious history video. So I'm going to end the live so that I can pull away from what we're doing now and concentrate on capturing the things that we need to capture for the video. I'm sorry for the phone orientation that I have now. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've done a live, so it would not let me orient in landscape, which is the normal for us. But just want to thank all of you for being here. I see everybody messaging. I do appreciate you being here. Go ahead and share the live stream if you would. And yeah, sleep. What is sleep? I get it. Yeah. So let's get back to what's going on here. And as soon as we're done, I'm going to kind of sign off. Yay, long form. Will you also do another long form of the investigation as well? Nick, absolutely. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it. Yes, so we've already taken B-roll on the outside of the building so we can talk about the history of the place. We're going to take B-roll inside the building for the history. And then Joe from Team Spectre, who we've tagged along with many times, is here with us, and he's going to kind of help lead us through an investigation. So we're going to kind of weave all of that into an episode. And in case any of you are wondering where you can get even more footage, we're going to upload extended versions of everything on our Patreon page. So look into that. The description should be, the link should be in the description below. So let's get back to the tour.
Back to the main area, and then we're gonna go to the next one. Yeah, we're gonna go in here and open it. Well, I don't know any history about it. Where did you come from?
So Megan, it was a situation like this, an area like this, a hallway and stuff, when your brother and I were in Virginia City on a ghost tour. I had stepped into a room or a hallway and thought I saw something and was like, okay, I'm done looking at that. So I came over here and I stood right like this in the door, and the people that were behind me in the group didn't see. And when the woman came up to about right here, she turned and saw me and screamed her head off and accused me of doing it on purpose. And I would never do such a thing on purpose. So it was 10 tons of fun. All right, I'm going to follow you. I'm lost.
We got this right. Perfectly balanced.
So it's so true.
I had to chase a chipmunk out of the barn on Thursday.
All of those things are not great.
Are we lost? Let's do it. I bet we're going upstairs. Hey, let's take the wrong stairs.
The most common stories we hear is you'll hear running footsteps of little kids going from this way to that way. There have been previously, although we're not allowed to anymore, that put baby powder on the floor and actually managed to see footsteps of little kids. There's a reason why this little cat ball is here. Because the first time we were here, we had cat balls around the room, we were playing a game, and we said, if you play the game, and you do something you want, we give you presents, that doesn't work. Staff members who work here will occasionally move this ball to other places, and then the kids get very upset, and you're all bottom of their devices, so I have to bring it back out and do it now. You're welcome to use this as a trigger object, get them to play with it. It's their toys, it's for them. The kids here are very playful, you hear children laughter. And again, anything that lights up does very, very well here, especially when trip wires that light up. Again, cat balls and gun pots do very well here as well. Now we're going to go to the room across the hall.
What's going on, Joe?
So if I needed anything to steer into to use the portal, that mirror would be it.
Yeah, so it is an old frame, and it's really awesome. But yeah, I can feel that.
Just kind of the vibe from it.
This whole area right here has a vibe. The way it's decked out.
Well, then you did say there's a lot of kids out there.
In this room specifically too, right?
Cat balls.
And there's one right here on the counter. Oh, look at this. This is great. No, that's fantastic.
Somebody's kept that one nice and clean.
Yeah, I could get lost in this room. Hi, everybody.
Fast forwarding to that room, we're here to do something that tell you that about. I see that picture on the wall. And that woman looks just like the one from my vision. Now, that is not that woman, because that is actually Grover Cleveland's life. I sincerely doubt she was haunting an old schoolhouse and train station out in the middle of nowhere. Could be, maybe, but the woman looks strikingly similar to that. And when I came here and we started doing an Estes session, we were actually running 2 Estes sessions at the same time. Rex and I were sitting side to side, and the rest of our crew, the camera crew, were around filming it while we were doing it. And we got tons of responses. We got to confirm that our one camera guy, this is the person who we had his past life experience with, his past life. This is where we had that confirmed. We even got the name of the person who did it, said his name multiple times. And the woman that I supposedly saw came through and said the reason she likes to talk to me and follow me around is because I listen. And no one else that they've encountered out there listens. We had even more responses to the point where Denise, again, who works over at the seminary, said, I cannot believe you filming this one's back. It's nuts. We had something that was catcalling Rex. So he goes out in this hallway over here and he points the staircases, and right as he points, it says, yes, up there. And again, I'm here facing this way with a blindfold on, can't see. So he then went upstairs to the 2nd floor, and right outside room 208, right as I was sitting down here in room 208, he heard knocking and banging on that door. And again, I'm down here, we couldn't hear each other, because again, I've got noise canceling headphones on, he's up on the next floor. Noise carries here, doesn't carry that well. So again, we managed to get some stuff to confirm from this room. So other than that, you'll hear a lot of loud bangs and noises. This room gets a lot of the vibrations from the boiler downstairs. You shouldn't have that problem tonight, so if you get some good bangs, that's a lot more interesting. But again, this is a great room for Estes sessions. If you don't know what that is, come see us later. We've got equipment you guys can use for that, and we'll explain how to do that. Then we're in this bathroom across the hall.
What a great room. Look at the clock.
People that go in this bathroom usually get the opposite sensation. We feel pretty happy. We feel pretty enjoyable. We get a lot of things out of this room. People use tripwires and gotten some pretty cool responses. When you look in here, don't be too surprised. There's a mannequin in the corner. Don't spook you. It gets me every time. So if it gets you, don't feel too bad. But this room, this bathroom right here, is the most active spot of this room right here. But generally, if you look around, like a lot of the stuff that's here, a lot of the wallpaper was designed like the original wallpaper that was here initially. And people have just a very calming feeling in this room and the room next door. Oh, I almost forgot. During the ESTA session, it kept referencing, check the exit, check the exit. There's actually two other exits that used to be here in this building. The one is right here, and the other one is over at the end of that hallway. They are not currently used as an exit, and the one's closed off and into a window, but it was very insistent that whatever was here was on the other side of that window, trying to come in. Do not use this staircase. This staircase is not written, made up to current fire codes. It's actually a lot shorter than it should be, especially. Do not use that one. Only use the staircase.
Well, that freaked me out. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Hey, she's missing her head. What the heck? I wonder why this room is the most haunted in this room. Interesting. Don't use that staircase. That's too bad. I was going to use it. Because me and staircases were like this. Oh, great. Megan, you're going up the wrong way. Yeah, but this is the men's side. Get on your own side. Goodness gracious. More? You hate me, don't you?
Is this the room that Joe was talking about?
What is it? Oh, yes.
Is this the room you're talking about? Is this the room that you're talking about?
All the filing cabinets?
There's a printer. Yeah, so there's one in there, isn't there? Right there.
Definitely a records room, though.
Maybe it's been 14 years. So.
All right, so this room is very much like a classroom. That's because this room currently is used as a classroom for daytime tours for kids that come in from the museum. This, however, is also the most active room that the current employees who work here report the most activity. The thing that stands out the most in this room is the sound of a woman crying. And I mean like really soul-crushing tearfulness. They'll be working in their offices at the end of the hall. I'm getting goosebumps just telling me about it. They'll be working in their offices at the end of the hall, when all of a sudden they start hearing what sounds like a woman sobbing. They go and investigate, it leads them to this room, they get here, and this crying stops. This happens a lot. And it happens during the day just as much as it happens in the evening. In here, the very first group that I brought through, and you remember this, we were doing a pendulum session in the spirit box session, and we got the name of Mark, who's an 8-year-old boy who really loves whales. Doesn't have a favorite whale though. Or if he does, he didn't tell us what it was. We asked him if it would be okay to bring him a toy whale or a picture of a whale. He'd be happy about it. He was very ecstatic of it. So Mandy, who's the program director here, put one in one of the rooms across the hall. Unfortunately, that room is locked, you can't go in there. But Mark has come out with other groups and said thank you. So Mark is a very playful one. This is a room where you might get to talk to him. The most interesting story that happened recently is I got a message from Mandy about 2 weeks ago saying that somebody was going through their stuff here and they found a human bone. Problem is there are no human remains that are kept here on location. Never were. So what it is, who it is, and where it came from, no one knows. Currently, it is not down here. It's not available for public use, obviously, because we're trying to look into where it came from and who or what it might be. But that just happened in the past few weeks. So in here would probably be a great way to great time to explore and try to see if you can get some answers to who or what this might be. Now, again, this is an interesting connection in synchronicity to Auglaize Village. Auglaize Village several years ago, it's right near the Potomac River. I think it's the Potomac, I know it's a river. One day, they were walking through the woods and they came across a bunch of human remains right next to the side of the river. So they called the cops because they're like, oh my God, there's human remains here. And keep in mind, Auglaize is in the middle of nowhere. We're talking corn country. There's literally nothing else around. And there were no missing persons reports. They didn't match any of the stuff they had in the file, so they did some carbon dating and found out the remains were a 500-year-old, 15-year-old Native American girl. Wow. By the way, those are still kept on the property in the farm museum, although they don't want that known. Wow. Keep it in a cardboard box. Do you think of a more disrespectful thing than that?
Yeah. You said that's in the farm?
In the farm museum, not here,
Oh.
at Ogden's. They don't want people to know that because they're tired of people asking to see them, wanting to interact with them. But regardless of what they tell you, they're there because they don't know what else to do. That is also one of the most active spots of that place. For understandable reasons.
Better
Yes.
resting spot.
Yes. But the place is not run by people who are carnival enthusiasts, and Austin and his group don't own the property. They just run their events for them like we do here. So it's not up to them. But their group feels very strongly about it as well and is talking to them repeatedly about it. And unfortunately, they don't care property. So they don't want people to know about it. So if you ever hear anything about it, just know that they're going to deny it. They're going to claim that it's wrong or that the body was moved. But we have it on camera and I've seen the remains for myself. We weren't allowed to film it, but I have seen it myself. But it's an interesting synchronicity to this place because now again we're finding stuff that's here that there's really no explanation as to who and what it is. And if you know anything about synchronicities, I'm sorry?
Carl Jung.
Yeah. Carl Jung, who is he's actually one of the proteges of Sigmund Freud, which is how I know him because he's in the mental health world just like I am. And he developed the idea of synchronicities, meaning a coincidence that is too perfect and too impactful to just be a coincidence. There's a deeper meaning to it. And it seems like more and more that we do these, there's more and more synchronicities between this place and Ogden's Village. At least as far as we're concerned. So again, this would be a great room to check out and see if you can find out any information about that in particular. Most people again feel pretty lively in this room. And again, a lot of kids will come through, a lot of laughter. The room next door is the Native American exhibit. Yes, there are dummies in there. People swear up and down stuff happens in there all the time. I personally never had anything happen in there, and I don't know if it's stories especially the tripwire and the units.
Well, my brother apparently heard something wrong with this together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded different than the footsteps that were a little bit after.
Yeah.
It sounded more like it was in the wall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded different than the footsteps.
What's going on?
Well, memories that don't exist, the items that didn't happen, or synchronicities.
So this area of Chloe is very interesting.
These at Hillview as well. Because I swear I've sat in front of it a couple of times. But I've been here once.
And who knows if this was here when you were here?
I know. Steve Jones sat over at the other end of the room, and a longer room, and filmed me on a ghost hunt.
Oh, okay.
I think it's on the second floor of Hillview. Similar, not the same, but similar.
Mm-hmm.
But
Synchronicity.
just, uh-oh.
Weren't we just talking about this in the car?
Just, uh-oh.
Uh-huh.
Another one.
Uh-huh.
Now, Rex, if you can hear me, not twice. He's joining the family. Hello, party crashers. Where are you off to?
We're going down this way.
Okay. Let's make some room for me. I gotta get past this.
Oh, follow me. Sorry, everyone, pardon.
And I just realized two other rooms on the first floor I have to show you guys. So we're not done with this. So the last time, two of the three groups heard a woman screaming at the same time trading the blood. Now there are historical periods, there are historical documents that show that there were people that got their legs parted underneath a tree nearby and were brought here to the infirmary downstairs. Now, for those of you that don't know what a trigger object is, a trigger object is something that a ghost or entity would have been familiar with at the time that they were alive, and that they would have been able or more willing to interact with. So this is where it's like if you have a historical item or you play a certain song from a certain time period, like Civil War era music, anything that would have been familiar with that is more likely to interact with you because of that object. So the belief is that train could have been a trigger object or could have jump-started a residual haunting that we all just happened to be there to listen to. About 20 minutes after they all heard this loud scream, two of the three groups, one of them being one of the ones that didn't hear the scream down here, started hearing children's laughter and footsteps and chased them down this hallway until it dead-ended in the hall down there. Down at the end of that hallway is where room 208 is. That's where we have that loud banging that Rex heard. We've had other groups that have reported hearing that same knock from that same room. And it's also a great area to do an Estes session because something down there really likes to catch all and make fun of people. So if you got thick skin or you just want to hear a ghost roast you for a little bit, that's a great place to do that. Down here, people reported seeing shadow figures and hearing footsteps. Also hearing some loud voices. I personally never got anything out of that hall, but this would be the men's side, and again, this would be the women's side. The other thing to remember is every room you see here, back in the day, used to be an old dormitory. The dormitory back in the day, it was not uncommon for them to fit up to 6 people in one of those rooms at the same time. Because again, there's only so many places they could take you. Also, before 1927 or 1928, I forget which it was, if you were a woman and your husband decided that for whatever reason they were done with you, they could bring you here or any psych facility, drop you off and say, you have to stay here, and they had to accommodate that because women back then didn't have the autonomy and their ability to say, I don't want to do that. And the excuses a lot of times you'd see in the paperwork would be hysteria, which nowadays we would know as anxiety disorder. That's what they just called it back then before mental health was a thing. And if you were a woman, you had to stay here. You weren't allowed to leave. Some would only be here for a short period of time. Others would be here for the rest of their lives, and their husbands would never come back. So again, this is where a lot of those individuals would live. The next place we're going to go is this room at the end of the hall, and this is the next spot for people to put drugs.
Joe?
It's a nice big printer.
Is this the room?
This is where I picked it up.
Mm-hmm.
And that is actually documented. So we were here the very first time. When Rex and I got to do our public ghost hunt, or our private ghost hunt, we weren't told the history of this building. When we did the Paracon events, they didn't know the history of the building, so we were not told. So when the members of the Historical Society watched our YouTube video, they invited us back for an lantern tour and said, you guys have no idea how accurate you were of some of the shit you got. And again, we didn't know the history. So one of the things we got is I was standing right here. My friend Denise was standing next to me, and Rex was standing in the doorway. The camera guy's on the other side. And we're running a spirit box. And I asked the question, you know, why did you hang yourself? And the answer we got is he was poor. This was a poorhouse. That wasn't exactly common. We also got alleged name. I don't know if the name is accurate or not. We have a whole list of names downstairs. So as you guys get names throughout the night, let us know. So we're writing down, we're researching them because we found logs for those that lived out here. But this is where generally you'll see that. People report a lot of sadness in this room, and that corner specifically, people get very uncomfortable and frequently feel touched. This is the first time since we were here for the very first public ghost hunt we did back in January that they had enough stuff out of this room you can actually get uncomfortable. People that do feel sensitive or do have mediumship or do claim to be psychics, this is one of the rooms they cannot stand in because of just how dark this room is. There's also the story of Wyatt. Wyatt was another gentleman who was here. We actually found historical records to actually confirm some of the details we didn't have. But Wyatt was a very unhappy gentleman, and he decided to take his life. But he didn't do it in the traditional sense of just hanging yourself or overdosing. He took a knife and actually cut into his own throat. He was taken to a hospital and he survived. It wasn't until about several days later when he was brought back here that he then successfully managed to take his own life. We got Wyatt's name that night in this room, and we had no idea who the hell he was. Which is one of the many names that we got, that we were able to confirm he actually died. in this general area. But this is typically right here and right outside this doorway where you get Wyatt's name quite a bit. Wyatt will interact with you. He doesn't usually say a whole lot, very understandably so. But this is one of those where you use a lot of empathy when you talk to him and see if you might get a little more lucky that you can get him to interact. The gentleman who hanged himself, I don't remember what his name is specifically. Again, I have to look it up, but this is the original bar where he actually did it from, and this is the doorway where he did it. So this back hallway, very, 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 very unsettling feeling. The room here to the left, right outside this doorway, there's been one story that came from employees who used to work here, where they actually sit in the chair and somebody pulled the chair out. As far as I know, that is literally the only thing that's ever happened in that room. So if you're gonna go sit in any of the chairs in that room, you're just like regular office chairs, you're allowed to sit in them, just be clear what's in the pulled out. Most of these are current active offices. If they're open, you're allowed to investigate them. Just please don't investigate them. No.
Oh. We're going up to the attic. Well, I guess that's what we have to do. Oh, the glamour of being a ghost hunter. Yes. Yes. How much are they paying you to do this?
Not enough.
Okay.
All right. I know there's lots of stairs. Unfortunately, this is the one spot where the elevator will not reach, so you gotta take the hard way up.
Thank you.
Did you get your steps in? This is another one where enjoy the weather as it is right now, because in less than a month, this is gonna be sweltering hot with no airflow. And then if you come back in the winter, it'll be incredibly cold with no heat. So you're kind of fucked no matter what you do. So you guys are picking like the best time to come up here. This is the first part of the attic. This is not the most haunted of the two, but there's still some interesting things that happen on this side. We were up here doing a pendulum session and spirit box session, and we got the voice of a little girl who kept asking for Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls. So we came back the next time, and we brought Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls. We left them right here, and it suddenly started playing with all the cat balls that we put around the Raggedy Andy toy. As far as I know, and as far as what we've researched, there is no stories or records of kids being up here in the attic portion, so we don't know who she is or where she comes from. There's all sorts of different metaphysical and philosophical explanations of what ghosts are, what the paranormal is. If you really want me to bore the shit out of you, come find me later and I'll tell you about some of the more interesting ones. But there is particular theory that could explain why that happens, even though no kids were supposedly up in this part of the building. Cat toys, things that light up, do very well over here. People frequently hear footsteps or feel footsteps on the floor. There's also a door over here in the corner. I'll tell you more about that here in a minute, but you are able to go back there. There's a room beyond that hallway. Please stay out of that because that's where all the current donations that they haven't had displayed yet are stored. They don't want people stealing stuff or breaking stuff. But the back hallway there, you're able to explore, and you're going to want to after I tell you the story there here in a minute. We're going to go up this little staircase here to the next top of the attic, and now you're going to come to the allegedly second darkest spot in the building for people that feel really like the prostate's there. You'll notice that I pointed out downstairs, the building was always separated. What is something you notice almost immediately about it? Well, that was where they knew to set the stuff up down here, but above here, there was never any split between them. This was the area of the building where if you wanted to mingle with the opposite sex, this is where you would come. Because this is the only place that wasn't monitored and wasn't separated. There are doorways like the ones we came up with over here on the men's or on the women's side, right over here that we can use just as easily. So when you have your secret rendezvous, this is where they would come. So some people feel very overwhelmed in a very physical way, if you get my drift. People have even gotten EVPs and responses on spirit boxes that actually sound like people engaging in sex. This is also where a lot of the alleged rapes and sexual assault happen. Because again, not every liaison was pleasant or consensual. And you also got to remember that some of the people that were here were developmentally delayed. So if you were going to take advantage of somebody and you didn't want someone to see you, especially Mrs. White, who is very, very adamant about being protective of the people who are here, this is where you would go. Up here, this is called an ouvellette. So back in the early Victorian era days, when they would build a lot of these buildings, especially during the time of the Underground Railroad, they would build these rooms on the top of these big mansions and buildings that was like a 4-walled room that was all glass. So you could see like for miles all around you. Back in the days of the Underground Railroad, when they wanted to signal to slaves that the building was actually safe to approach, they would take a lantern and put it up there. And the lantern was lit, that meant that the building was safe to approach. Now, the reason they were able to get away with it is because this was just a very normal architecture of that day and time for this particular stuff. However, people often see shadow figures move around up there, and most liaisons and people that feel very uncomfortable and get very sick happen underneath the ouvellette right here. This is a great place for Estes sessions and a great place for motion sensors, especially if you aim them that way, towards the back. We had a group that was up here doing an Estes session. We were teaching them how to do one. We had 2 motion sensors that were over here where these 2 gentlemen are standing, shooting towards that window, and they kept going off. Like something was running back and forth in front of the beam, and the beams were shooting towards the wall. So it was not aimed at us. We were able to confirm it. We tested it many times. You literally had to get right on top of the thing before it would go off. In that back wall, there is a secret door. That doorway I showed you on the other side, this is how you get to that secret passage. It's right here. Several years ago, when they started remodeling the building, they opened up this door and they found a shoe back there. Now, they didn't think anything of it at the time. You know, it's kind of weird to see a shoe in a random passage like that. So they took the shoe out until someone did some research later and find out that people who are very big into spirituality, very big into just the supernatural as is, believe that putting shoes in place like that was actually a way to ground it and protect the location from spirit activity. That shoe is actually on display on the 2nd floor in one of the rooms. I don't remember which one it is, but groups were able to find it last time they were here. So that shoe is still here. However, that means that this whole area is no longer grounded in protection from supernatural activity. Last time we were here, we had a group play hot and cold. Everyone know how to play hot and cold, right? Okay, no one's agreeing, so I'm going to go ahead and just explain it. Hot and cold is... Yes, warmer or colder. And if I'm getting near you, it's tell me it's warmer. If I'm getting further away, say it's colder. We played a game with someone ironically named Cole, or at least that's what they claimed their name was, who led us all the way down here, all the way around the corner, through the door into the secret passage, and there's another little passage that goes off into a bunch of pipes in the back, and he said he was hanging out back there. He kept trying to get us to go back there. Don't go back there because it is not safe to go back there at all. You signed a waiver, so you can't sue us if you do. So if you decide to be, risk it, go for it. But I don't recommend it. And we played it at least 3 or 4 times with 2 different groups, and it led us to the same thing every single time. And we were using a spirit box. We also like to do what's called a roaming Estes session, which is where we put on headphones and we have somebody actually walk around without, and we're all walking behind them so they can't see or hear what we're saying. And again, led us to the same exact thing, multiple times with different groups of people. And they were the ones under, not us. So it wasn't us just being biased. So they like to play hot or cold up here. Again, people often feel very overwhelmed. Some people that claim that feel like they get sick. Again, over here is the big spot where that happens a lot. Okay, any questions on this stuff? All right, the last place I want to take you guys back down to the 1st floor because there's 2 areas I forgot to show you that are very important. Ooh, that's interesting, Jay. I just thought it was interesting. Very common. Just like feels like it's just like sometimes it's If it gets stronger, get the hell out of there. I know. Don't stay.
I know that.
Yeah, well, some people don't learn that lesson fast. And they get hurt.
Thank you.
Nothing here that's worth dying for.
Don't worry, I can make it.
Alright, go on to the bottom of the staircase.
Thank you.
Alright, we're gonna go down this hallway all the way
Down the wrong staircase.
You're gonna go straight. Just wait for it. Yeah, you're not gonna. This, you guys remember how I mentioned Lucy downstairs? This is the other room up. This is where I usually get Lucy to come out the most. This is also where I got my ass kicked twice. Oh, yeah. This room's also had some remodeling. We used to do giant table stuff here. This room is awesome for Estes sessions and spirit boxes. You will get responses in this room. Usually it will be from Lucy, but not always. Again, Lucy is very flirtatious. Generally, men get a lot more response and interactivity than women do, but some women have been able to get her to come through. Generally, this room feels very good. It feels very welcoming. Again, Lucy was a little bit of a party animal. She also, eventually, when she did die, what happened is she ended up getting drunk one night, ran out in the middle of winter naked, and died of exposure. And since that time, going all the way back to the late 1800s, her ghost is said to have been here. So she's been here for a very, very, very long period of time. The other thing of note is this nurse's uniform across the hall. If you'd like to demonstrate for me, he is going to shine an infrared light on this thing, or an ultraviolet light. Go ahead. And you might notice some things on that. That's because that nurse's uniform is a real thing, and what you're seeing in that infrared flashlight are bodily fluids. That is a very, very used nurse's uniform. This room is extremely active for people that tend to have the feeling of getting touched, poked and prodded. When it gets darker, if you have an infrared flashlight, it'll show up a lot easier. That thing is literally covered.
I've seen that when it got really dark.
Yes. So, again, these are some more of the old dormitories here. So again, as you're walking by, imagine up to 6 people living in these rooms at once.
These are the rooms, yes. From
This
South
used to be
Africa.
all rooms. All these rooms have had little activity happen in them, but nothing really major other than this one. This is another room that you
come out and go into the other room to go.
And I've seen a lot of
That
shadow
is a
pictures
functional,
when they walk past.
solid brick
Usually
wall.
standing over by this window.
Of course.
Just wanted you to know that.
Thanks.
So that's a great way to test it. That here is not okay.
Yeah, so for those of you who may have heard what Joe was talking to me about, the window that is behind me now and the window in the next room, when we pulled up into the parking lot, we were the second car in the parking lot. The people who were running the event weren't here yet. I didn't know that. And I got out of the car and I was looking at these two windows and somebody was walking back and forth. I could see it. And Joe pointed out to me afterward that there was nobody in the building when I saw that. So, and now I realized I'm all alone. I'm going this way.
She would either sleep on the bed, or she'd have pieces of bed before she got the night. She could not sleep in bed. For those of you that are familiar with PTSD, especially those who've gone through sexual assault, that is not an uncommon symptom to see, among many others. In this room, people have gotten her name set on spirit boxes, and I believe the name is Catherine. There's also a whole bunch of old radios in here. Now, there's a story that goes, and I've heard conflicting things, so I'm just going to tell you like what I've heard, and I'll tell you what the conflicting things are. There's a whole bunch of old radios in here. Allegedly, some people that were in here tinkering with the radios have gotten EVPs on those old radios before. You can't play with them. They're historic. They're not owned by the building. They're just here for displays. And I've also heard people say that that's absolute bullcrap. What I can tell you, since we started doing these events, is people get a lot of EVPs out of this room and a lot of spirit box responses. Spirit boxes, because they're radios, this is probably the spot where you're most likely to get the most responses, is out of this room. Catherine is very friendly. She had a very, very difficult life. She was very afraid. So usually when you hear a woman's voice come out of here, usually it's very timid, very mild, but she will interact with you. And she's very friendly. So if you got spirit boxes or radios or something like that that does a lot of audio, this is the room you want to check out. This room across the hall is just the mannequins. Beware of the mannequins. They're gonna creep you out. Probably. It's gonna happen. Fuckers give me all the time. Also, watch out for that guy.
Yeah.
All right. The only thing I have to show you guys is the barn. The back of the barn.
Good opportunity to show everybody the outside of the building. Maybe we'll walk around front, or maybe I'll let you wait for the long form video. We'll see. So the cool thing about this place, other than the weather right now, it's really nice out, is so the building behind me. Obviously, there were people who never left the poorhouse, and when they passed away, they were buried somewhere out here on the grounds. There is some belief that they were buried over towards where the school buses park, which is on that side of the building. So over there. And supposedly all of those graves were exhumed somewhere close to the 1930s. They, at the local cemetery proper, they created a plot. They dug up all of those graves and they moved them over to the cemetery. But for any of you who've seen the movie Poltergeist, you kind of know what that's all about. Okay, we're about to go in the barn. This is new. This big silo.
When it comes to shadow figure activity, this is the #1 spot. Shadow figures are frequently seen down this hall right here, which by the way has an automatic light that will turn on when you go past it, so don't freak out if it turns on. There are also bathrooms back here you're welcome to use as well. And also on the top of the staircase and behind these windows. Shadow figures is probably the #1 reported thing that happens in this location specifically. And it's always the hallway or it's the upstairs.
You know all of this building is?
I do not. I do not. Shadow figures have been seen on the other side as well, but it's not anywhere near as frequently. A lot of times you'll hear laughter, you'll hear talking. We were in here with the group teaching how to ghost hunt, and we got an EVP of a voice saying hello from a young woman. It was all guys that were with our group. Some people will report feeling like there's something standing near them. They sit in the chairs. These are the chairs you're more than welcome to sit in here if you want. And then there's a stage back there. We've put motion sensors and a spirit web back there. If you know what that is, it looks like essentially a giant spider web of different tripwires. And whatever's back there loves to set them off. So if you got anything that lights up, that stage is probably a great place to do that. Some people put things up on the bar, but it's very hit or miss whether or not you're gonna get anything to actually interact with it. But if you have a laser grid, like the green lights or the red beams, shoot it this way and try to cover the staircase at least, and your odds of actually seeing something are fairly good. Again, it's very common in here. Because of the weather, this is one of the places that doesn't get investigated very much, which is funny because this area actually has heat in this room. It's just a pain in the ass to get to. So feel free to check this place out tonight, because again, this is very, very underappreciated area for activity. And that concludes our tour. At this point, you guys are welcome to roam to your heart's content. We do have some gear you guys can rent out if you want. Rent, you don't have to pay for it, just take it and sign it out. And we have all sorts of stuff, but from here on out, you're on your own until 3 a.m. If you got questions, please ask.
What were they doing?
Yes.
Question.
Yes.
I need water. I'm thirsty.
You said there's a motion sensor back there.
Yes.
Is that one off by itself?
No. Usually someone trips it because it just goes off someone's walking back there.
Well, I just didn't know.
Yeah, as far as I know, no one's ever reported. Doesn't mean it hasn't.
Let's trip it.
Yeah, how far do you have to go to second?
I'm so stealthy that nothing turns on.
Yeah, okay, well, if it does go off, don't be surprised.
Okay, walk this way. Oh, look at the sunset. Nice. Okay. So it's about time for us to sign off from the live stream. Just give me a moment of your time, if you would, please. First of all, I need to remind everybody that again on June 20th, they are doing another paranormal investigation here at the Lake County History Center, formerly known as the Lake County Poorhouse. I'm going to walk and talk with you for a little bit because I want to get out to the front of the building so I can show you what the front of the building looks like. So bear with me just briefly. Sometimes people ask how I find out about these things, and I think the term divine providence comes to play. How did I find out? I mean, I go on the internet all the time and I research, you know, paranormal areas throughout the state of Ohio, but not just Ohio, other places too. But, you know, here I am doing this on YouTube for how many years now? I don't even remember when I started. And it hasn't been that long, but it's been long enough to where you would think you would exhaust all of your avenues of finding locations that have, you know, paranormal activity. This one popped up on my radar because my wife received this information and she sent me the link to the ghost hunt tonight. And I'm thrilled that we got to come here and do this. First of all, we're going to make it so you don't have to look at the ugly face anymore and you can see what we're dealing with. So here is a beautiful sunset happening. And we're going to come around here to the front of the building. Whenever we get a chance to see buildings like this and investigate buildings like this, we're always very grateful that, first of all, historical buildings like this still exist. This building could easily have gone into disrepair and been demolished. For those of you who live in Stark County, Ohio, or know of a place called Molly Stark, you'll know that that historic building, for all of its beauty and promise, was recently demolished, I believe, because it just became untenable. And if somebody in Stark County would have thought to buy that and renovate it and keep it up and hold events like this, then maybe we would still have that to hold on to. So when we come to a place like this, I am completely grateful to the people of Paynesville, of Lake County, and specifically the Lake County Historical Society for putting forth the effort and the time and the money, obviously, to keep a place like this open and available for the community. Because what an amazing structure this is. It's beautiful to look at, in my opinion. And just from walking around in the inside like we just did, completely fantastic.
Quick, run an intro.
Uh,
Run an intro right now. Do it live.
I can't.
And we are looking for volunteers.
I can't-
They're in dire need of volunteers here.
Run an intro. Okay.
Welcome to Curious History.
One of you run an intro then.
Welcome to Curious History. Tonight we are at the Lake County Courthouse. And we're gonna do some ghost hunting.
Is that what he sounds like?
No.
Is that what you think he sounds like?
Gee, thanks. Thanks a lot. Today we're at the Lake County History Center, which is owned by the Lake County Historical Society. Back in the 1850s, Lake County was a growing county, specifically Paynesville, which was the county seat, still is the county seat of Lake County, was becoming so big that they had a real problem with people who were unable to sustain their own life and had no place to live. And this building is where they were sent to. This is not the original building. Originally, this was a farm, and originally on this site, there was a farmhouse, and the people were moved into there and lived there, and they had to pay their way to live there. But the way they paid their way to live there was they worked on the farm, and they got a stipend for working on the farm, which they paid to be able to live here. That stipend helped to support the building and the people who work here, and it worked out great for a while. But about 20 years later, in 1876, it was overwhelmed. The small farmhouse was way too small to accommodate all the people that were supposed to be there. So they built this impressive structure. Hundreds of rooms in this building, and it became known as the Lake County Poorhouse. This building existed as the Lake County Poorhouse until about the 1970s, a very long time, almost 100 years of people being in this building, unable to fit in society for whatever reason. Then in the 1970s, the residents, it was then known as the Lake County Home because it was a retirement home, as it were. The residents were then moved out of this place and it became vacant. When the Lake County Historical Society found out that this was vacant and falling into disrepair and scheduled to be demolished, they took ownership of it and restored it to what it is today. Is it perfect? No. But you don't want an old historical building to be perfect. You want it to retain the old world charm that you see here today. So we are here at the Lake County Poorhouse because they are hosting a ghost hunt. We've just been on a ghost tour, and they tell us that there are more hauntings in this building than in almost any other building we've ever been to. So why don't you come along and join us? And if you're curious, let's take a walk through history. That, my friends, is a cold open. What did you think? Did I do okay? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. For getting, jumped. Not too bad. Not too bad.
I thought mine was better.
You should walk that way. Goodbye. Just for that, you're hunting by yourself. Give me the headlamp.
Well, you do got to take the other staircase. We can't come up with it.
Alright.
So if you go up that staircase, there's no guarantee we go up the other one. That might be it.
badass. Love
Might
it.
be it.
Thank you, Blue Genie. Appreciate it. All right. So here we are. And we're going in, whether we like it or not. Are you ready?
Yeah, no, this place is cool.
It is.
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
No.
How about now?
Nope.
How about now?
Ask me again in 5 years.
Turn around. Go away. Hey, folks. Thanks a lot for joining us. My children. Molly, what have we done? We have created monsters. Thank you all very much for joining us on this live. I know it's long. 91 minutes of a live is
Was it really?
91 minutes. Yeah. So
Yeah, this is
we're going to go ahead and head in. I hear they have some pizza, and Fat Guy loves pizza, so we're going to do that. And then we are going to go ahead and start filming our long form video. Yes, we are going to do paranormal investigating through it. We're also going to capture B-roll inside so we can make sure that we tell about the history of the building. And as soon as we get all of that in the can and we get all of the video and audio scrubbed through, then I'll go ahead and put together the edit and get it out to everybody on YouTube. To all of you who are watching that are Patreon members, I love you. It's because of you that we can do this. The money that comes to the Curious History channel on Patreon affords us the ability to do this. Again, June 20th, they are having this event again. It is not a free event. It is a $50 ticket per person. So be aware of that. But I hope you can attend because it's a beautiful facility. All right. It was great being with you all. Thank you for stopping in. Thank you for saying hi. I'm going to go rest for a minute before we walk around all over again and do it all over again. Love you all. I'll see you. Bye.
Food's here if you want to go eat.